Every day in the USA, people find themselves in court.
We are on the record in the matter of the state of Michigan versus Terry Walker, 2535380. Detective, your name for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Detective Joseph Carl, Wyandotte Police.
Please raise your right hand. You solemnly swear from the testimony about to give this matter to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you. You may proceed on the warrant.
Your Honor, on March 18, 2025, about 12:48 a.m., Officer Cox reported that he and Officer O'Meara were patrolling the area of 4th Street and Goddard in a two-man unit when they observed a gray Ford Focus traveling southbound 4th Street with an object displayed from the rearview mirror obscuring the driver's view. Officer Cox reported that he conducted a lean SOS check on the attached plate, which indicated that the owner of the vehicle had an active warrant. Officer Cox reported he activated the overhead emergency lights of his patrol vehicle and initiated a stop on that vehicle on southbound 4th Street near Ward. Officers approached the vehicle and made contact with the driver, later identified as the defendant, Terry Daniel Walker. Officer Cox reported that while speaking with the defendant, he appeared to be extremely nervous. Cox reported that Officer O'Meara advised him that the defendant was concealing a black pouch under his right leg. Officer Cox also observed several knives throughout the vehicle. For officer safety, the defendant was asked to exit the vehicle, at which time he was seen reaching around the interior of the vehicle and reaching for the small black pouch. Officers reported that the defendant disobeyed their verbal commands to exit the vehicle and was seen questioning the contents of the black pouch. The defendant was extracted from the vehicle and advised he was under arrest and detained in the rear of a patrol vehicle. Officer Cox reported that during the inventory search of the vehicle, he located and recovered a sheathed fixed blade knife measuring about 4 to 5 inches in length. Officer Cox further located drug paraphernalia with cocaine residue in the center console, in addition to a folded lottery ticket with cocaine, which was observed on the passenger seat of the vehicle. The black pouch that the defendant was in possession with was also recovered and contained 2 glass vials of cocaine. Officers later field tested the cocaine with a positive result as it being cocaine. The 2 plastic vials of cocaine weighed about 16.39 grams. And in the folded lottery ticket, it weighed about 0.50 grams.
All right. I'm sorry. There's a visual offender.
That's correct, Your Honor. Habitual third offense, Your Honor.
All right. And the court will, after upon examination of the complaining witness, I find the offense charge was committed, and find this probable cause to be committed that offense. And counsel?
Your Honor, good afternoon. Richard T. Serrano, P33828. Today I appear on behalf of the defendant for arraignment purposes only, presently in custody. Please state your name, sir.
Terry Walker.
All right, and good afternoon. And counsel, as to the arraignment.
Your Honor, I've advised my client of the nature of the charges against him, all maximum possible penalties involved, excuse me, including the habitual offender notice as well as the operating a vehicle notice that's contained in the complaint warrant. And Your Honor, he understands and thereby would waive formal reading today, stand you.
All right, the court will waive the formal reading, enter a plea of not guilty for purpose of the arraignment. Sir, you have the right to have an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court will require them to represent you. And in fact, you had an opportunity to speak to an attorney today, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, the court has also signed the petition in order for court appointing the attorney for felony matters. You have the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. You have the right to have a trial by a judge or by a jury. You also have the right to remain silent. Anything you say orally or in writing may be used against you in court. Do you understand those rights, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, as I've indicated, the court's entered a plea of not guilty on your behalf. We're going to schedule this matter for probable cause conference on March 27th.
8:45.
At 8:45 a.m. Asked to bond counsel.
Your Honor, my client tells me he is married, 50 years old. He presently has no employment and he has no income. Your Honor, he is telling me that other than the matters pending, he has nothing else pending and not on probation or parole is what he tells me. And so, Your Honor, we ask in the court's discretion to assess a bond that he reasonably expect to post under the circumstances, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, and I'm sorry, sir, it says you're not working, correct?
Sorry.
Can you repeat that, Your Honor?
It says you're not working, is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
When's the last time you were employed?
About 3 years ago.
And so how do you support yourself, sir?
I was actually doing DoorDash when I was pulled over. I just signed up for it a couple weeks ago.
Do you have a valid driver's license?
Yes, ma'am.
And sir, if you were to test today, what would be in your system?
I don't know, it's been 3 days, probably not much.
Not much of what?
It wouldn't be anything, I don't think. I've been here 3 days.
Okay, so if something were detected, what do you think it would be?
Would have been cocaine in my system.
Okay. And so, you said your attorney indicated you live with your wife?
Sorry?
You live with your wife?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Does she work?
She's on disability.
Okay. Well, given, actually, Detective Esteban,
Your Honor, I would request $1,000 cash bond, considering the nature of the offense and the defendant's criminal history with the habitual third offense, Your Honor, taking that into consideration.
okay. The court has some concerns for the safety of the community, given this is a third offense possession charge. The court also finds that the court has concerns of the defendant appearing back in court, given the third offender notice and the nature of the charges, as well as not having any significant employment right now or otherwise. So the court's going to order a $10,000, 10% bond. In the event bond is posted, GPS tether through the Wayne County Jail. You're not to possess or consume any alcohol or drugs unless prescribed. And then we'll see you back on next Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Have a good day.
That's great.
Okay. That's in custody, okay.
Stewart. Correct, Your Honor. That's Ms. Stewart.
Okay. I'm sorry. And so this is the matter of the city of Wyandotte versus Caitlyn Stewart, 23ABC, I'm sorry, 231185 A, B, and C. I'm sorry, A and B and C. 201529. Counsel, your appearance, please.
Yes, Your Honor, good morning, good afternoon, Richard Keith Serrano appearing on behalf with Ms. Stewart. This being the date and time for arraignment purposes only. Ms. Stewart, please state your name for the record.
Caitlyn Lee Stewart.
Okay, so, well, you're finally here for court, on these matters that you have failed to appear on continuously. So counsel, as to the arraignment on these matters.
We waive formal reading, stand mute. I advise her of all her rights as well as the nature of the charges against her, maximum penalties, Your Honor.
The court will waive the formal reading on both these matters. I'm just being back with you, schedule these matters for April 2nd. For pre-trial at 8:45 a.m. Counsel, you may or may not still be on the case because it is an arraignment, although you are here that day.
If it's assigned to me, I certainly will follow up on Your Honor.
as to bond counsel.
Your Honor, my client is single, although she is, has 3 children she supports at home with her significant other, a 10-month-old child, a 7-year-old child, and a 4-year-old child. She was doing DoorDash when she was picked up on these warrants. She tells me she had was aware of these past matters and didn't come to court. The usual that I hear from people that I was afraid since I had no money, I would go to jail, etc. So, Your Honor, we're asking the court to enter plea not guilty, of course, have a pretrial and give her the chance, Your Honor. Last time, when I left her in the interview room, she had made calls to significant other to try to get a bail bondsman to post any kind of monetary bond that this court would deem fit. We're asking it, Your Honor, that it be the lowest possible bond possible so she can go back home to her children. Thank you.
Ma'am, all right, you've had these matters pending for 4 years. Well,
Yes, Your Honor.
let me see, 4.5 years. You were ordered to have appeared in court. You had a notice to appear for December 5th of 2023. You did not contact the court, and a warrant was issued January 4th of 24. And that was for a matter that had occurred in August of 2020. Then, while this matter is pending, you pick up another matter, and I believe you may have been given a citation, and you were not arrested. So, you were supposed to appear on December 5th for this current matter as well, the one from May 26th of 23. You didn't appear on either one of these matters. Nor did you contact into the court to say, excuse me, I don't have any money, but I have a court date, what should I do? You didn't do any of that. You just blew us off. You didn't make any communication at all. So what happened that you're in custody today, ma'am?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
What happened that caused you to be in custody today?
I was pulled over for driving without a license, or I'm sorry, driving without insurance. I have a valid license for the state of Michigan, I promise I do. I got pulled over for no valid insurance, and when they took my ID, they asked if I had any warrants, and I was very open and honest with the cop about the warrants that I had against me, even though I thought that we had taken care of them back in last January, because my boyfriend came up here, paid $500 per charge, and they said that there would be no more issues after that.
No. Yeah, your boyfriend misunderstood. That bond was to post the bond to get you a court date. Unless there were some tickets that were outstanding, I don't know. But you can't, it's a misdemeanor. You don't just pay money and then not appear in court. That's not how that works. Do you have any other warrants, ma'am, for failing to appear?
Not that I'm aware of, no. As far as I know, the only thing I have against me is some traffic issues for unpaid traffic tickets.
Okay, and you have a history of failing to follow up on your obligations.
Ma'am, I would just like to point out that during that time, I was heavily on drugs, and I understand that that's definitely not at all an excuse, but I am not the same person that I was when these charges occurred, and I'm not the same person that just didn't willy-nilly show up to a court arraignment. You know what I mean? I'm not that same person.
Okay, ma'am, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And, okay, perhaps you're not. You are the same person that's continued to blow off the court.
But I'm not. The person that was doing that was heavily on drugs at the time.
Okay, so ma'am, how long have you been in recovery?
I've been in recovery 3.5 years now, give or take. It
Okay,
hasn't been consistent, I'll admit that. I've slipped up, I've had relapses, I will fully admit that.
okay, so May of 23 is within that time frame. But even since then, ma'am, okay, even if you've been in recovery in the last 2 years, you have not contacted the court to take care of these matters.
I was unaware that these matters were still an issue after we had paid off everything in January of 24, I believe it was, last January. Not the one that just passed this year, but last year. I thought it was already taken care of after that.
I'm just looking to see what it is you paid, ma'am.
I understand. It was supposed to be $500 per charge. for a total of $1,000.
I want to see any civil infraction.
Okay, ma'am, I'm not sure what your boyfriend
You
paid.
posted a bond in 2023.
You posted a bond in 24, that may have been for these matters,
2023.
or
October 2023.
October of 2023.
That was a $500 bond on the 2020.
Okay, you posted a $500 bond on the 2020 matter, and that was likely to get your court date.
Same day, a $500 bond on the 23.
Okay, and then also on the 2023 matter. So that was to get your court date, but then you never showed up for your court dates.
Can you see where the paperwork was sent for that court date? What address it was sent to?
Okay? The address on file, so either Hickory or Marquee, I'm not sure which one, because it shows a Hickory Road, Hickory Drive.
The Hickory Drive address I gave the lawyer this morning, that's where I'm currently gonna be staying, but the address on Marquee, I have not lived at in quite a while. How
Okay,
is it?
we don't know that, we don't know that, we can't track people down. So what about the DeVoe Street, where is it, where do you live?
DeVoe Street is my aunt's address that I lived at for approximately 4 years. Right now, I'm currently staying on Hickory Drive.
Okay, well, we also sent notice to the DeVoe Street address, because we had 2 addresses for you.
Oh my gosh.
We would like all mail further to be directed to the Hickory Drive address, Your Honor. I put that.
You have a valid address? I mean, a
Yes.
valid license?
Valid license, yes ma'am, as of January of last year.
All right, the court's going to order, 201529, the court's going to order a $3,500 10% bond. And on the 2311858, the court's going to order a $3,500 10% bond. And then we'll see you back on April 2nd.
Yes ma'am, thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And that's possession of too many alcohol or drugs unless prescribed.